opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth. We just stand up and fight, walk into the night. We're the people, we can do it if we try. I know we can do it. Somebody ask me, why do we have to go through it? It's just the test of our faith. But we're living day to day. We don't know where, we don't know when. But he's coming back again. Oh, yes, he is. It's leading me. Oh, God, it's time for you to return. Oh, Lord, see. I know. Time to make a change.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. It is that time. We count it all joy to be together with you today on Truth Time. Dr. West and I are going to explore the following. Are progressives to blame for Trump 2.0? Well, a lot of neoliberals are saying so, and there was a big op-ed written about this very topic. But what do you think? Was it progressives' fault that President Donald J. Trump got a second term? Think about that. And secondly, an interfaith group in the LA area got together. They've been protesting and standing strong for a very long time. They want the United States to close Guantanamo Bay. Some of us may be old enough to remember that President Barack Obama said he was going to do just that and did not do it. And also they want the blockade lifted off of Cuba. But before we get to all of that exploration, the doctor is in the house. Dr. West, what is on your heart, your soul, and your mind?
As you know, I always come out swinging with love and joy, but over against all the hatred and all the greed. I think that it's true that 85 years ago, the great Smokey Robinson was born, and that's worth acknowledging, because that's a whole lot of joy and a whole lot of genius.
Amen.
60 years ago, the great Malcolm X was murdered.
Yes.
Right down the street here. I live in Harlem. Audubon Room. February 21, 1965. And I'll say to myself, if Brother Malcolm came back from the dead, there would be tears in his eyes. His heart would be broken and his soul would be aching, because he always looked at the world through the lens of those Franz Fanon called the wretched of the earth.
Yes, sir.
Criminalized folk, terrorized folk, traumatized folk, Black folk, always a starting point for him, not just here, but all around the world, the Caribbean and Africa, and then he embraces oppressed people no matter what color. That's Malcolm X, and he's one of the great extensions of a Black tradition, one of the great waves in the ocean of the Black freedom struggle. And I say to myself, he used to say, what Garvey used to say, the world has made being Black a crime. I intend to make it a virtue.
I know that's right.
Garvey would say, I'm thoroughly convinced that for the masses of Black people, not just the Black middle classes, they dealing with racism, but they holding on. But the masses, those who really are crush-proof walls are pushed against the wall, to use the language of Howard Thurman. He said, they will live lives of ruin and disaster given what I see in this country. Now, that's Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X. See, that's the Black nationalist tradition. That's the tradition that says that white America, no matter how wonderful you got some white folk might be, They got a whole lot of cousins who didn't get the same memo. And they could not envision America having the capacity to treat Black people with respect and dignity. I'm talking about all Black people, not talking about the upper middle classes, all Black folk. And that's a reminder, it seems to me, even if we don't necessarily accept the conclusion of Garvey and Malcolm in terms of the capacity of America, the challenge is there. And when we look around in this Trump moment, it looks as if Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and Queen Mother Moore and so many of the towering Black nationalists were telling some very painful truths. Very, very painful truths. Malcolm said, the chickens come home to roost.
Yes, sir.
He was talking about the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, the CIA and the Belgian authorities. And then he was talking about the assassination of JFK. He said, violence is, as H. Brett Brown said, as American as apple pie. As American as apple pie. Martin King said, oh, but nonviolence is the only way. We understand, Martin, we love you to death. We pursue nonviolence the best that we can, but violence is everywhere.
Yeah.
The psychic violence, the physical violence, the social violence, it's everywhere. And all we can do, like Kendrick Lamar, lift our voices up and say, mortal man, we gonna keep alive a great tradition bequeathed to us by those who came before. For him, it's Tupac and others, but it could be Malcolm, and in many ways it is for him, Malcolm too. But these are the things on my mind now when I think about Brother Smokey's birthday, when I think about Brother Malcolm's assassination.
Yeah, and happy birthday to the one and only Smokey Robinson. Brother Tavis Smiley gave you and I a few weeks ago, probably maybe
yes,
6 weeks ago. Yeah, we got a chance to be with the one and only Smokey Robinson and the one and only Tavis Smiley having a dialogue together. That was beautiful.
That was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget it. Definitely happy birthday to Smokey Robinson. In fact, I'm so glad you're lifting up Minister Malcolm X. I mean, so often this country forces us to pick our heroes, and they pitted the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. against Minister Malcolm X. The white power structure decided, even though they had no love for either man and tried to destroy both men and their movements, they elevated the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. over time over Minister Malcolm X, and even psychologically brainwashed a lot of Black people to think that, ooh, don't mention Minister Malcolm X. I never forget when I was running for Secretary of State in the great state of Ohio in 2014, which seems a lifetime ago. I was traveling the state and I quoted Minister Malcolm X, and the quote was, I'm for what is right, no matter who it is for, who it is against, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember being pulled by the side saying, don't quote whatever you do. And I was in the southern part of Ohio, which is, a little more vanilla, but, truth is truth, no matter where you are. I don't have to change it. But I remember being told, oh, don't mention, why you quoting Minister Malcolm X? Because I am. But, just that psychology of not lifting up Minister Malcolm X in the same way. They were the yin to the yang. There was a point in time where they were going to come together, and this country did not, the power structure, Hoover and others did not want to have that happen. And both men were assassinated because they were standing up for the beauty, the love, and the humanity of Black people. Well, when we come forward, we will continue this conversation about the birthday of the one and only Smokey Robinson and the assassination of Minister Malcolm X, and so much more. You are listening to Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips. Now I am a revolutionary.
A On Saturday, February 22nd, you're invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Fabrice.
Fabric Talk. Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Fabrice Fabric Spray? Oh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Fabrice. La 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 la.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part, they accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dr. West and I are so grateful that so many of you are joining us either in your cars or some are listening from their laptops. But wherever you are, we really do appreciate you listening to us. Dr. West was lifting up the birthday of the one and only Smokey Robinson. Doc, 85 years old today.
85 years young.
85 years young, 85 years strong today, 85 years blessed today. You know, we have such a youth obsessed society, and I just often wonder, like, you only got two choices. There's no middle ground. Either you're gonna live to be seasoned or you die young. You know, there ain't no middle ground in that. And what wisdom, and it's particularly Western cultures that glorify youth over elders and seasonedness, where other cultures, especially on the continent of Africa, also other places, China, you know, other places, they lift up elders, and it is a sign of respect and duty to lift up your elders and to treat them with the respect and the dignity that they deserve for the years they've been on this earth.
That is so very, very true. Think about Smokey, though. He's forever young as he grows old.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's taking up residency in Las Vegas for one of these grand performances over time. And it's amazing how he keeps going. But I think he's young in heart. I think he has an openness of mind. And of course, he's got an artistic genius we don't have a language for. And Malcolm, in a way, is forever. You know, that his legacy is forever. His love is forever. His courage is forever.
Yeah, Doc. You know, when you were talking about the great Marcus Garvey, who, you know, from son of Jamaica, came to this country. A lot of our Caribbean sisters and brothers, because of the slave trade itself, they were able to keep some of the continent's, you know, that direct connection to the traditions of the ancestors in more and deeper ways than our ancestors who were brought to the Americas, particularly the United States of America. We know the largest population of those of African descent outside of the continent are in Brazil. And we think about the Atlantic slave trade. But going back to Brother Marcus Garvey, I mean, he really did, Doc, as you laid out, lift Blackness itself. And it was important for him to do that because we live in a society that scorns, everything, devil, black, all of that, black sheep of the family. I mean, you look up black and everything that is negative is ascribed to it via the English language. And what Brother Marcus Garvey understood is that psychologically, Black people had to be lifted up and reminded that they are beautiful, that they are really the salt of the earth. And quite frankly, all life originated on that continent. This is scientific. This is not just Sister Senator Nina Turner saying it, that all life, the mitochondrial Eve, I want to encourage those who have joined us today to look that up, the mitochondrial Eve, that we all have a common mother, common ancestors, and that life started on the continent. But for so long, Doc, we were not taught that. And so when you have people like Minister Malcolm X and Brother Marcus Garvey, who Minister Malcolm X's parents were Garveyites.
Oh, Earl and Louise.
Yeah.
His mama was from Grenada. Earl was a Baptist minister there in Omaha. And of course, the White Citizen Council killed him and lynched him.
Yeah.
Malcolm never forgot that as well. But it's interesting that in regard to our precious Caribbean brothers and sisters, that they also had to deal with barbaric forms of slavery. It was intense. It was expansive. But they never had Jim Crow. See, they never had Jane Crow.
Yeah.
And that's something that does set Black folk in the U.S. empire apart from those in the Caribbean who were dealing with the British Empire and the French Empire. See, Jim Crow and Jane Crow was a very, very distinctive experience for almost 100 years of lynching every 2.5 days. And the lynching was just the public face of the terror, you see. And that's part of the psyche. When Garvey arrives here in New York, in March 1917, he's introduced by A. Philip Randolph, actually, which is very interesting, right here at 125th Street and 7th Avenue. And A. Philip Randolph was a strong socialist, editor of the Messenger and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
But Garvey gets here and he says, Lord, I've got a Pan-African movement at work. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Nicaragua. I've been, of course, to Jamaica. I've been to London. Now I'm here in New York. But these Black folk in the United States, they're going through some Jim and Jane Crow that's had a different kind of impact on their psyches.
Yeah, definitely.
And he ends up producing the largest mass movement of Black people in the history of Black people to this day, to go back to Africa.
Yeah, he did. And this country mounted the systems against him, got him on mail fraud and some other trumped up, excuse the pun, charges. Really to stop his movement. And Doc, his movement was one of lifting the psychology. See, because you only can treat somebody a certain way if you get them to believe that they are that thing, right. And that's really what this system in the United States of America not only had the bodies of our foreparents, it had their minds, or tried to anyway. But psych, I'm working on your mind, working on your mind, working on your mind. You're subhuman. You got pseudoscience going on telling you, their brains are different from ours, or the religious rationale for it, that somehow that those of African descent were cursed by God. Yeah. And that the whole manifest destiny kind of dimension of the United States of America, the white man's burden, which is a poem. I do encourage, again, our sisters and brothers and family friends who are joining us today to look that up. But the feeling that the Europeans had a burden to help the masses of people of color to find God and to not be savages. And we were branded. I mean, think about that, Doc. People don't. Wow.
Well, that's why it amazes me when people come up to me, Brother West, we like your brand. You got your black suit. You got your brand. I said, I ain't got no goddamn brand whatsoever. I got a cause. I come from a people who've been branded on those barbaric slave ships and confronting those barbaric slave auctions and put on those barbaric slave plantations. They don't talk about a brand. Well, they say a brand because what? Neoliberalism. Everything's marketized. Everything's privatized. Right. Everybody's for sale. Everything is for sale. And when you're globalized, you're looking for more money, more cash, more profit, more gain. Oh, no wonder everybody talk about what your brand is, because they're willing to sell themselves. That's what brands do. Their market strategies to sell. Well, I'm not a self to be sold. I'm part of a tradition to be appreciated. to be passed on from one generation to the next.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep, Doc. Wow. Well, here we go. Dr. West bringing the thunder and the lightning and the rain. Happy birthday, Smokey Robinson. And today is the assassination, the day that the Minister Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965. So, Doc, we're moving ahead here. There was an op-ed written by George Wills, who I know you are familiar with, and he basically said or wrote that progressives sought an ever more powerful presidency. Now, to their horror, they have it with Trump. And, he went on to talk about some of the quotes from founders of this nation. Progressives have the presidency they have long desired, but a president they abhor. James Madison warned them, quote, enlightened statesmen will not always be at the helm, end quote. Well, ain't that true? That's true. That was true in the past presidency, too, and many presidencies. And, he just goes on to lay out how there have been certain presidents from Theodore Roosevelt to even he names FDR who were trying to make the federal government over in their image. And then in walks Donald J. Trump. Now, he places the blame for the loss of the Democrats or depending on how you want to look at it, the win of President Donald J. Trump at the feet of progressives. But as I read his op-ed, Doc, I was thinking to myself, he's talking about neoliberals. He's not talking about progressives. So that headline doesn't fit.
That's exactly right. I mean, the sad thing is that our categories are just so impoverished and so narrow. You watch any television, they talk about the left. And you think about the left, you're thinking about socialists. You think about anarchists. You think about revolutionaries. No, they talking about liberals. Well, the liberals not the left.
They're not.
It's not the left. CNN is not the left. MSNBC is not the left at all. And when people say the right, well, conservatives, there's many conservatives critical of Trump, many conservatives over against Trump. There's conservatives and the right, there's liberals and the left.
That's
right. We have to be clear about that. But, these days, everything is so meshed together and it's hard to be in any way lucent and transparent about what you're saying. And that's another sign, of an empire in deep decline. Once the language corrodes and corrupts, then it's hard for there to be genuine communication. So you end up with just polarization and gangsterization rather than communication. And if you can't communicate, then the only way you relate is violently. And we see that. I mean, Trump, of course, Trump is, he's the exemplary gangster. We know that. So that gangsters don't give a dang about lucency and transparency and accountability. They want to say anything they want and everybody accept it, do anything they want, and everybody has to embrace it. And if you don't, they demonize you. Well, that's what gangsters do. Trump is not the only one that does that, but he happens to be right now in the White House.
Yes.
But he's bringing us a whole host of other gangsters too. So you get the wholesale gangsterization of a society, and which ends up being the wholesale gangsterization of the world, given the fact that America is the superpower, the mightiest empire in the history of the world. And so the question becomes, well, what do we do? Well, we keep telling the truth on Truth Time. What do we keep? We keep the love alive, the hope alive, the justice alive, you see.
Yes, and telling that truth everywhere. I mean, everybody has a role to play. I will say with George Will, some of the things that I did agree with in the article when he pointed out that 4 years from now, the spending, Trump is not really going to reduce spending. I agree with him on that. He said for 4 years from now, the government will be larger than it is today. Here is today's government, about which Musk evidently knows as little as he knows about politics, which is true. So I did agree with that little slight.
Brother George Will, conservative brother that is.
Right about that. He got that right. He goes on, 36% of the budget is Social Security and Medicare, which Trump says are untouchable unless the population instantly and miraculously stops aging. Spending on both programs will grow a lot in 4 years. So he really lays the bare, he unpacks the mythology that Trump is putting forward in terms of how he is going to shrink government. What he is doing is shock and awe. And what he is doing is upending the lives of public servants who were not elected, but nevertheless, if you work at the VA, you are a public servant. If you work at the National Park Service, you are a public servant. And just the wholesale vilification of federal workers who really are our neighbors, our friends, our frenemies, our children, and placing these people in a position where they lose their jobs. Lose your job, you lose your health care, you lose your ability to really support your family optimally. Well, President Donald J. Trump did not run on any of these things, but yet it is happening. So yes, I do love how Wills is laying out. Oh no, government is going to be bigger. Spending is going to increase. All of this is a fallacy. What I don't agree with is the whole notion that this is the fault of progressives. Like you and I talk about this often. I mean, this neo-fascist Trump 2.0 was brought to us by neoliberals over a long span of time, not just 1 4-year term.
That's very true. And it was brought by the assault and attack on poor and working people's life chances, which resulted in the massive redistribution of wealth from them to the well-to-do. So even though productivity quadrupled,
yes,
the profits remained very much at the top. They were hemorrhaged at the top. And poor and working people experiencing wage stagnation, fighting for crumbs among each other as the billionaire class and the multi-millionaire class continued to grow and expand. Not just here, but around the world. And so that neoliberalism of privatizing, and when you privatize, you got to militarize because you have the people to protect your money and your property. So you got mass incarceration for the poor, stagnation for the workers, and well-to-do break dancing to the bank.
The Gilded Age is upon us yet again. But the silver lining is that after the Gilded Age came the Progressive Age. I believe that we must and we can do that again. You're listening to Truth Time. When we come forward, we will continue this conversation on KBLA Talk 1580.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
So I'm not driving you, baby.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Education Department is warning universities it will cut funding in 2 weeks if they continue DEI programs, calling them illegal under the Trump administration. This applies to hiring, financial aid, scholarships, and more. A winter storm is set to bring heavy snow to the East Coast with up to 12 inches expected in Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, and Delaware. Freezing temps stretch from Montana to Texas, impacting travel and airports. West Virginia and Kentucky, already hit by deadly floods, face new threats. A court hearing today could determine if federal corruption charges against Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams are dropped. The judge wants to review the dismissal order, which could allow charges to be refiled. And former Vice President Kamala Harris just signed with Creative Artists Agency for representation, focusing on speaking engagements and publishing. CAA, known for repping top talent, also represents Beyonce and former Presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his first 2 games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you, neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. For information on fire recovery resources, recovery hubs, and available services, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 countywide. Aid distribution locations, repopulation updates, and safety rules are constantly changing. Visit the LA City and LA County websites for the latest. If you'd like to sign up for the county's free debris removal, fill out a right of entry form, or get a list of disaster recovery centers that are still active, please visit recovery.lacounty.gov or call the debris hotline at 844-347-3332. If you're vulnerable to mudslides with rain in the forecast, free sandbags are being offered. Go to lacounty.pw/sandbags to find out where to get them. Businesses who have lost their facilities due to the fires can use a regional online source to get free or discounted locations. Whether you're interested in donating or finding space, you can visit the business-to-business Space Share portal at spaceshare.lacounty.gov. Additional LA County small business support and programs can be found at opportunity.lacounty.gov. Praying, advocating, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Oh, yeah. Love and Truth is here on Truth Time. Doc is jumping in the chat on YouTube. Let's lift up a few of the folks who have joined us today. Blessed Peacemaker in it all per usual. Good afternoon. Much love from us all in Kenya, Dr. West and Senator Nina Turner. Daryl Evans, yes, the memory of the late and great Malcolm X lives on. Amen to that. Morris Phillips, happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month indeed. A Pan-African Hannibal, much respect to Cornel, met him at the Million Man March anniversary in 2015. He was such a stand-up man and had true character, something missing in the world. And lastly, Material World, for now, we'll try to get to more. Material World 4, bless you both. Oh, that was so.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Lord,
The Million Man March, huh, Doc?
Going back to the Million Man March, 1995. Minister Louis Farrakhan and Ben Chavis. Ben Chavis was real progressive in those days. He's kind of drifted to the center recently, but the three of us had traveled the country. In fact, Brother Tavis was kind enough to put us on his show, BET. That was a lot of controversy, a lot of courage on Brother Tavis's part.
Oh, yeah.
To put us on BET. And we met with Robert Johnson, who was the owner then, and he convinced him that we should do it because, of course, they always afraid of Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we had said that, well, we zeroed in on these black brothers, and we're going to acknowledge the unbelievable damage done by the mass incarceration regime and the unemployment and the inadequate schools and the bullets flowing and the terrorism enacted in the hood. And that's exactly what the focus was for that Man March. It was a historic day.
It really was. And much of what was being lifted then still needs to be lifted now, and solutions to it. Not really much has changed materially since that Million Man March, unfortunately.
That's very, very true. And it's very much because we haven't had spokespersons and leaders enough. We got some. I just had a wonderful meeting with my Black Lives Matter grassroots brothers and sisters, Melina, Abdullah, and the others, focusing on everyday Black people, focusing on poor and working class Black people and the various kinds of terror coming their way by means of the police and other forms. But we just haven't had enough folk zeroing in on Black, poor, and working people.
Yeah, we got to get back to that. We do. That's where true liberation comes. You know, in thinking about solutions to this, I mean, Black Lives Matter, certainly that movement itself plays a role. We have philanthropic, civic-based, organizations that need to play a role. The faith-based community needs to play a role. I mean, there's a role for everyone, and especially in the face of this neo-fascist terror that is happening in our country, those institutions are even more important in moments like this.
That's so true. That's very true. And that's where the courage, that's where the commitment, that's where the conviction has to play a role, taking the form of some organizational activity. We got to be organized. We got to be able to come together, trust each other, whatever our disagreements and differences are, to trust each other so we can fight together. Because those coming at us, they have a strong unity now. They really do.
They're together. I was reading something Jesse Waiters put out there. He made it plain on social media. He said, we touch millions of people. I'm paraphrasing him, but somebody tweets something, we elevate it. We're talking about it on Fox. It spreads this place. And he said, basically, before you know it, millions of people are activated. True. All I can say is true that, even though I don't agree how they're activating and what they're activating for, the point is they really are organized in a way that they are a finely oiled machine for this mischief and destruction. And those who believe in good and believe in justice have to be just as organized. We can bemoan the fact that they are organized. They are organized. So what are we going to do? He straight up said, we battling the left. Now, again, you and I talking about what they mean by left. He probably means progressive left, but you battling those neoliberals. And it just, even going back to George Will's article, people need to understand. I don't know how many people really understand the difference between neoliberalism, neo-fascism, what it represents, and then what the progressive left represents. So just by way of example, and Doc, you got to jump in here. When we talk about the progressive left, it's a policy, it's a set of policies, it's a notion that there is a human rights economy, to quote one of the great economists, Dr. Derek Hamilton at the Institute on Race Policy and Political Economy at the New School. What does a human rights economy look like? So when you think progressivism in the 21st century, those things that we are putting forward by way of example without the label is universal health care. Putting forward the fact that the government should subsidize child care to allow workers to be able to work in peace. This pro-family party They're not pro-family. They anti-family. They pro-birth, but they ain't pro-family. Because if they were pro-family, then they would increase the minimum wage. So again, progressive movement believes in increasing the minimum wage. There should not be a sub-minimum wage. People should be making a living wage, that people have universal health care, and on, Doc.
That's very, very real. But
And Doc, neoliberalism and neo-fascism, Doc, take that
that's
for
right. I'm glad you mentioned Professor Hamilton, because his voice is a very important one. I know you all also work very closely together. He's wise enough to bring you there. As is it a fellow, senior fellow?
Senior fellow, yes, sir.
Yes, indeed, at the center. Very much so. And I spent a lot of time in New School
myself
because of the great Reggie Workman. They're having a magnificent documentary, Immortal, the music of Reggie Workman, who played bass for John Coltrane, played bass for Art Basie, played bass for Freddie Cole, played bass for Yusuf Lateef. He's still alive, 87 years old. Professor, the New School, jazz for 41 years. That's Reggie Workman out of Philadelphia. And what does that got to do with politics? Everything, because the music speaks to your heart, mind, and soul. What he calls the science of sound.
Wow.
That's his formulation, the science of sound. If you don't get your science right in terms of your sound, then your soul is not going to be intact in terms of your deed. That's Reggie Workman.
That's it. Alchemy. Got to be right.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be right, indeed. Thinking about neo-fascism, there are people who believe that there should be a consolidation of power by a few. They take on authority, kind of, what we say go, do as we say. No love for just individual, everyday people that you love to use, Doc, and I love that. Just power grab, authoritarian type. That's it. And then neoliberals believe in keeping the status quo. They believe in the marketplace will solve all problems, and they don't go really much further. They just operate differently from neo-fascists in terms of how they move in the world, but they don't really put forward programs and policies that change material conditions. Neo-fascism and neoliberalism, same coin, different sides. That is what it is. You know what? You're all listening to Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant at home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
What you want to do, huh?
KBLA Talk 1580 is thrilled to share that we have been named as a semi-finalist for the coveted American Climate Leadership Awards, honoring our climate work last year. We're also delighted to announce year 2 of our Climate Justice Crusade. This year's $2 million 12-month campaign will link and combat the relationship between climate change and poor health outcomes for African Americans and the poor. Climate inequities have taken a toll with multiple health triggers in the Black community, such as extreme heat and poor air quality, made worse by the recent wildfires. Our work to ensure climate justice and climate equity continues. In the coming weeks and months, you'll be hearing a lot more about our 2025 climate campaign. To learn more about our plans for this year and the companies and organizations supporting us, log on to our website at kbla1580.com. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black. Truth crushed to earth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, you are. We count it all joy that you are here. If you are just joining us, please make sure you go back and listen to the show from the beginning. Dr. West opened up his monologue in discussing the fact that it is the birthday of the one and only Smokey Robinson, 85 years young today. I don't know, Doc, I got the song Cruising in my head right now.
No, cruise with me, baby.
Yes, happy birthday, Smokey Robinson.
Love you, Smokey. Love you forever,
we
brother.
do. And also that today, February 19th, the minister, Malcolm X, was assassinated.
Well, it's 21,
February 21st.
This week, that's right.
This week.
No, absolutely.
Minister Malcolm X was assassinated. So just recognizing that as we lift him as one of the greatest leaders this world has ever seen. Like, I want to turn to a few more comments. We got some haters in here today. We welcome you too. And somebody named Derek Chauvin, want to call us the N-word and stuff like that. People saying these kinds of things that they would never, ever say. Misogynist and racist, and you are definitely proving our point, Derek Chauvin. Stuff that you would never say to either one of our faces. Please take that somewhere else. Don't bring that here on Truth Time. I just had to call it out, Doc. It's some
But you tell that, brother, we are proud Black man and Black woman telling the truth, seeking justice, and putting smiles on our granddaddies and grandmama's face. And you get out of our way as we bear witness.
That's it. It's kind of sad. I feel sad for this person. They must be some type of miserable, Yeah. So but would never say that kind of stuff to anybody's face. And then back to Blessed Peacemaker, who is always in there lifting and bringing the joy. Blessed Peacemaker has a request. My request for Black History is that you all do a show on Elon Musk as the new King Leopold II, as he targets DR Congo to control the world's cobalt supply. A lot of U.S. Americans know zero about this. And Blessed Peacemaker is exactly right. A lot of Americans don't know a lot about the cobalt. And not just Musk, but just, the overtaking of those mines and the oppression of Black Africans who have to work in those mines, Doc, is quite devastating.
Some of the most precious minerals and resources are on the African continent, and the African continent more and more becomes the center of the struggle of the United States on one hand, China on the other, Russia on the other, all trying to gain access to those minerals and those resources. And our brother Peacemaker is absolutely right that none of us have really given the kind of centering to Africa that Africa deserves, even though the next 50 years, people will see that more clearly.
Oh, yeah, and that's why there was such a scramble for the continent. Why a pope decided to divide up the continent between European powers. The nerve. More nerve than brass a monkey, as my grandmother would say. But Dr. West and I, that is good. Blessed Peacemaker. We will have to explore that. And then Sister Teresa Campbell meant to say Black mega church fails the Black community. So her lifting up the fact that some Black churches, she is absolutely right. Some, not all. Some church folks are failing.
I would say too many Black churches. and too many mega churches. If you're going to be a mega church and you don't have mega courage and mega love and a mega ministry to the prisoners, the incarcerated, and a mega focus on the elderly and the poor, then what kind of gospel are you preaching?
Yeah, that part, Doc.
What kind of gospel are you living?
Yeah. And it used to be a time where, I mean, a lot of the Black progress, when we think about institutions that Black people control straight out of, Reconstruction, straight out of enslavement, I mean, certainly the Black church is at the top of that list. And it is the place where not only did people go to worship and to enrich their souls, they went there to plot, plan, strategize, mobilize, and organize, to quote our brother Michael Render, aka Killer Mike. But the church was the center of all of that.
That's the prophetic Black church, the Norman Johnsons and others, the Carolyn Knights. But you go into some of these churches, you see ATM before you see a cross.
Woo, Doc, that is the word. We're going to hold that word when we come forward. We're going to let Dr. West will expound on the ATM before you see the cross. You're listening to Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Kadeen and Deval Ellis for P&G Good Every Day.
Babe, guess what? We can save big on all our favorite P&G brands like Tide, Cascade, and Febreze. Plus, support great causes every day.
Wait, hold up. You telling me we can save money and feel good about it? How?
Well, remember how Granny and Big Mama used to save money by cutting those coupons out of Sunday papers? Now we just go to pggoodeveryday.com, sign up for P&G's free rewards program, and get exclusive coupons.
Okay, so we can get VIP status and save money.
Exactly. We stock up on the P&G products so you, the boys, and I are good every day, just like our folks did for us.
Well, you better go visit pggoodeveryday.com right now, because you got to go buy some detergent and toothpaste and toilet paper.
Me?
Yeah, you. And with all that extra cash, I got to go buy these new sneakers.
It's okay, funny man. You got jokes. Boy, focus on these savings first.
Visit pggoodeveryday.com.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
It is beautiful indeed. So, Doc, ATM and the cross, before we get that in our final moments for this episode, got to lift up LA Progressive. So there's a LA rally to close Guantanamo Bay and end the U.S. blockade of Cuba. Dozens of activists participated in the 14th annual protest. So you're talking about spiritual leaders and activists coming together for good.
Absolutely.
Protest to demand the U.S. out of Guantanamo Bay, organized by the Interfaith Communities United for Justice and Peace. We got our Jewish Voices for Peace sisters and brothers and a whole bunch of other folks. And basically, this is what they were gathering for. Today, we gather in unity and in the pursuit of justice to address a grave ethical failure on our nation's conscience. The continued existence of Guantanamo Bay and other post 9/11 national security policies that single out Muslims. And so it's the interfaith kind of thing that, just singles out folks and no due process there and all of that good stuff. So this is an example of faith leaders from all faith gathering together to stand up for justice.
Oh, that's so true. Guantanamo is a site of American barbarism, and thank God our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Muslim brothers and sisters, our Christian brothers and sisters, our Buddhist brothers and sisters, and our secular ones bear witness to that truth and that justice. That's what Truth Time is all about. Always the right time, Truth Time.
Always the right time. And for this is the 14th annual, they're being steadfast, unmovable, because sometimes it's hard in the face of things like this to stay steadfast, to know that every moment that you fight, you just chipping away at injustice. And in today's Nina Notes, a quote by the one and only Minister Malcolm X: "You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace until he has freedom." Hello, somebody.
Ooh, wow, that's Malcolm. Whoa.
Yes.
We love him. We love him.
We do. No one. He said person, but no one can be at peace.
That's right.
Until, so you got to be free. Well, that is our time today. Again, all joy. We appreciate you so very much. This is Truth Time on KBLA Talk 1580. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica. 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Hump Day from New York to Los Angeles. We've had an amazing week on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and I'm so grateful that all of our listeners are listening. A very important show, a very important guest. Vic Carter is the embodiment of a professional journalist, with an extraordinary career spanning over 4 decades. This year, he made a very tough decision to step away from the broadcast industry, concluding a remarkable 29-year as the lead anchor for CBS WJZ-TV in Baltimore, Maryland, where he anchored the top-rated 4, 6, and 11 p.m. newscasts. That's 3 hours every night live television. I struggle with 3 hours every day live radio. A real testament to his dedication. His departure also marked a milestone of 46 years in television broadcasting. After graduating from Morehead State University in Morehead, Kentucky, he wasted no time launching his career, making his television debut as a reporter just 2 days later. He served as an anchor reporter in Lynchburg, Virginia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, and at just age 23, he earned the prestigious Peabody Award. one of the highest honors in broadcasting. More than a dozen Emmy nominations from the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Outstanding contributions. The School of Journalism at the University of Georgia named him Journalist of the Year, and he was inducted into the National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame. Vic, welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, what a great honor it is for me to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me here.
I am particularly excited. I had the great honor, Vic, of being in your presence and interviewed by you for Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday in Baltimore, Maryland. I was in a very auspicious group of people, the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And after Vic gave me a wonderful and stirring introduction, I reminded him that when other fraternities invite me to their events, they usually invite me to